My name is Hakeem. I'm on the Energy and Climate Action Committee meeting.
Nice to meet you.
Roger, I'm John Londa. We meet face to face.
Yep.
We exchange emails.
Very good.
David Jacobson on the committee and the Cape Light Compact board too.
All right, very good.
And our
Roger,
solar
nice to see you again.
expert.
Solar expert.
Yeah, you're the solar expert. Sorry, Roger. Didn't mean to.
No, he's a solar expert, I agree with this.
Good to see you.
It just means.
Hi, Andy O'Neill, I'm on the Energy Committee,
I'm a good vendor.
work with navigators.
How are you?
Who are you?
Oh, who am I? I'm Tim Cunahan.
Tim, this is Raj.
Hi, Tim.
Howdy, Raj.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Megan, oh,
So what's our agenda today?
Megan's
So
the,
our
the Zoom
first order of
vote.
business was a discussion with Mass Energize on to understand their program.
And that's Megan who's up there. She is up Mass Energized.
So I would ask, Megan, are you able to hear us? And if you can you give us an update on Mass Energize?
I just let her in.
Thank you.
Hello, Megan?
There we go.
That was a short
Hello,
meeting.
how are you?
Good.
Good.
So we have, this is Climate Action Committee, and we have some members from the Energy Navigators, and so we were interested in finding out more about Mass Energize.
Wonderful. Is my colleague Ariha Jane in the waiting room as well?
Yes.
I think I see her there. Could we promote her?
I just let her in.
Super. And then is she able to share her screen?
Yes.
Okay, super. Video. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Morning.
We're really happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us. I will let you know that I am at home for the moment. I have to run to an appointment, but I'm going to, when I have to leave, I'm going to switch to my phone and pick you up while I'm driving. And we have a little presentation for you, if that's all right. Is that good?
As long as it's Bluetooth on the phone.
Yes, it is totally Bluetooth. Excellent. So, good morning, happy to be here. I'm Megan Sullivan. I am a volunteer with Mass Energize, but I help a lot with the operations of the organization, and I've also joined the board. But how I got involved with Mass Energize is I started a group in Medfield called Sustainable Medfield. And I looked around and found a few people in Medfield who wanted to join me in this venture, and we got going. And but what was really nice is about 6 months later, I got introduced to Mass Energize, and all of a sudden I had colleagues and resources who were able to assist with, help me with figuring out what was going on, good systems to use. Our monthly meetings were, it was great to meet people. So anyway, since then, I just kept jumping into Mass Energize, and so now I do both Sustainable Medfield and my town of Medfield. And I am passionate, so I volunteer a lot with Mass Energize. I help run the conference, and I help with operational things, as I said, including these products that we're going to be talking about with you today. So it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm here with my colleague, Ariha Jain, who you're going to hear much more from in a bit, and she is our Community and Program Support Specialist. So in the course of her work, she is helping with marketing, and she also is the point person for our client communities when they need assistance or help or training. She's the go-to person. So happy to be here. Okay, maybe the next slide. Thanks, Ariha. Right, we all have this challenge that we're trying to address, create. Well, solve our climate problem, but in the interim, right, we've developed climate action plans, and I know that Cape Cod has a climate action plan, and I understand that you are working on one that might be more local. This is going to require a lot of effort in a lot of fields. Many of them will come from the town, particularly maybe with regard to funding, as well as you'll need to be engaging your businesses and your residents. That's kind of one of the things, engaging businesses and residents. You want to go to the next slide, Abiha? Is that we know that on Cape Cod, it's similar to Medfield, over 75% of the greenhouse gas emissions on Cape Cod come from these residential choices that people make around their kitchen tables, whether it's where they're going to get their energy from, and also how are their transportation choices. So even though you're going to do a lot at the town level, your town is probably similar, that you're going to need to engage your residents for like that final mile, converting people to actually making the difference in terms of what they're going to drive and how they're going to heat and cool their homes. We believe that there's a lot of benefit to be had by getting your peers to influence other peers. So that's kind of where we are. Our sweet spot is helping you engage your local neighbors. Next, super. Yes, exactly. We help you engage your residents to accelerate climate action. And so who is Mass Energize? I think is the next slide. We got started in 2019 because our founders were in a similar situation and they realized that Concord was doing the same thing as Wayland. And they're like, why don't we try and support each other? So that's how Mass Energize began. We have been partnering with towns and community organizations statewide since then, and we have developed, I think, a nice suite of three product streams that we believe help support communities very well. Is there one more? Right, we know climate work is, when you're doing the climate work on the ground, you've got limited time and volunteer capacity. Residents are kind of all over the place. They engage in different ways. From getting started, there are many tools and resources you can choose from, whether it's how you're going to manage your contacts or a newsletter or your social media presence or your website. We bring some clarity to that, and we believe that, as volunteers, it's really hard to deliver impact and gain momentum, but we're here to support you because, as we mentioned before, right, we have to engage residents for those last changes that only local homeowners can engage in. And one of the things we do is, where our strength lies is that we share what works across communities, right? We have the experience of, we know what worked in Wayland, I can tell you what's working in Medfield. We want to be able to share that information, but also we really believe that no matter what we share, you're going to want to tweak it and focus it for what works in Orleans. So that's where we are. And we do it in 3 ways. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Abiha, and I'll let her run through the rest of the slide presentation, and I will be joining you from my car in just a few minutes. So, thank you, Abiha.
Thank you so much for the intro, Megan. So here are the 3 ways we support local climate action. Number 1 being we train and support local leaders. We do it by several ways. One being a community of practice meetings. So these are monthly meetups. It's on Zoom. We alternate between having guest speakers and then sharing information between communities. It's very nice, and even when we do have a guest experts, we often end the meetings with anyone have any questions or what's going on, or learn about what outreach has been effective. And you can see on the right side of the screen here some of the topics we had in 2025, and whether it was like what people were doing for Earth Day, topics like heat pump incentives, and we had Massive come 4 or 5 times to different meetings to talk about different elements of the program that started in 2025. So it's a great place for education. In addition to our website, we have here training resources, a lot of webinars that we run. We have playbooks, and these are all available on our website. We also have Facebook group. Do you hear me echoing?
That was me, sorry. I think I'm better now. There we go.
Okay. we also have a Facebook group and also a Slack channel where all of the Mass Energized Network community leaders are added. That's a platform where you can chat, you can ask questions, or you can share what's working in your community. And then we have the annual conference. We are very excited and proud of the annual conference that we ran this year. We had more than 300 climate leaders under the roof together, and we had excellent guest speakers and dynamic breakout sessions for tools, resources, and learnings. And Raj was actually the photographer for the conference. So we had fun. Talking about some of the tools and resources that we offer, and this is one of our newest offerings, the Social Media Magic Toolkit. So we know most local groups are stretched thin, they're volunteer-led or juggling a dozen things and don't always have time for social media. And especially with what we have learned from the grassroots leaders and volunteers that Mass Energize is working with, that there's limited time and capacity. And we don't always have time for designing and scheduling content, and it often becomes a back burner task. So our solution to that is Social Media Magic. This toolkit was designed to lighten that load, and by giving you tools, templates, and also ready to post content that is delivered straight to your workspace, to your community's workspace, so you can focus more on connecting with residents on the field. Here's a snapshot of several ready-made and ready-to-post graphics folder our team has worked on in Canva. Just so you don't have to start from scratch on a blank canvas. And here's an example: if your town is working on specialized building code and you want to create momentum around that, so here's a folder and some ready-to-share or modify based on your needs graphics, and you can also make it more local. So this is all built in Canva. Here are some examples of what we have posted in our Mass Energized communities, and we generally provide you with at least eight posts a month on these following topics: 2 on heat pumps, 2 on solar, 2 on EVs, and the other 2 are seasonal. And if we have any events, we send more posts for that month. And we post across these platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Again, so some high-level benefits of Social Media Magic is that you can have a social media presence with minimal or no efforts with this toolkit. We deliver posts at least 2 weeks in advance to your workspace, so you get enough time to review and decide if you want to proceed with posting and making those posts live on your channels. And here's a snapshot for Sustainable Midfield's experience using Social Media Magic Toolkit in 2025. This shows real impact. So before using the toolkit, Sustainable Midfield would post about any upcoming events, but they were not really consistent in their social media. So as you can see, a consistency drives increased reach. They were posting at least eight posts a month from April 2025 to December 2025. And you can see that it increased their reach and engagement as shown in the graph here. So that's it for Social Media Magic. Next, let's talk a little bit about our core product, which is the Action Focused website, and also the foundation of our model at Mass Energize. So with Action Focused website, we provide you with a white label, a customizable website that acts as a central hub for your residents, where you can provide them clear and user-friendly interface and resources, and they know exactly that what they need to do to make an impact. So you get action templates to get started, you get a testimonial section, so your neighbors can share their experience in the community. You can also post events across Mass Energized communities. If let's say there's a heat pump webinar happening in Energize Acton, but you would also like to promote it in your community, so you can cross-post about some of those events. And then with the website, you can also integrate tools like MailChimp for your newsletters and to professional email blast for your events. So these are the main 4 elements of the website: the homepage, the actions template, a testimonial section, and then your events page. So let's look at each of the element one by one. So this is a snapshot of the actions template. We offer ready-to-use templates for actions that can be filtered by cost, impact, and topic, and it makes simple for anyone to find their next step. You get actions like thrive an EV, schedule a no-cost home energy assessment, eat more plant-based meals, or switch to induction cooking. And there's a lot of action templates. We have a huge library. You can pick the ones that you would like to feature. And this is one of the actions. We get an EV, and you can see that this content here, it is all created. You can just pick this template if you want to feature it on the website, so you don't have to start on a blank canvas. And you can add any links or resources which is local to audience. The events page, so for all your local town activities, you can add events here and you can promote them. You can also share events with other towns. Let's chat about that in a minute. But these are this is the view of the events that you would post on your website. And this is one of the events. This is the upcoming event from Energize Acton, and this is how it would look. You get a space for description about what the event is going to be. You can add the RSVP, the location for the event, and a featured image. And the next and my favorite feature for the website is event sharing. So, as I said, it's like Energize Acton is doing a heat pump webinar, and they want to share it with Orleans Energy Navigator's site. So they can mark that event as share it with all the Mass Energize communities. And then you can pick and choose if you would like to feature that event on your site and to share it with the residents who follow your page. So here's a snapshot of all the events or all the upcoming events that are shared by some of the Mass Energize communities. You would see it in the back end of your dashboard, and you can pick and choose which ones you would like to feature. Here's a space for testimonials. Again, to build a community trust, we have integrated real-world testimonials directly into the platform. This would allow your neighbors to learn from each other's successes. If someone has installed rooftop solar, they can share their experience and even mention the vendor for others to reference, which is again local to your community. So this is the third element by which we partner with your community, which is the community engagement programs. These are the types of programs we run. We run electrification campaigns. This is a picture of me. The programs I ran last year in Newburyport, Energy for Generations, I was working with older adults. That was the targeted population. We also run multi-town collaboration programs. We also work with utilities like National Grid, Eversource, and provide the Massive Outreach Partnership. Here's a list of the programs and campaigns we ran in 2025. Here's some of the communities we are working with. And these are the new ones that joined us in 2026. And here are the ways to partner with us. And that's the end of the presentation from my end. Let us know if you have any questions, concerns, and stop sharing.
A small question, how large is your staff? That's a lot of resources that you provide.
Yeah, so we have the executive director, we have volunteers like Megan, two of the founders, they are also volunteers, and then there's total 4 staff members on the team at the moment.
Where do you get your funding from?
We mostly get our funding from our grant funded programs. And then from our products, which is really minimal, it is just to help us like bear our cost, but it is mostly from the grant funded programs.
Would you have a considerable number of individual donors who support us?
Okay. Well, to be honest, I think a lot of the products that you provide, except maybe for the social media, we already have. I think one of the issues that we have is really, we end up just talking to each other. How do you increase that outreach to people who are not already, who have not already been reached, so that, we can expand that level of interest and participation? Because otherwise, a lot of the activities, we have brochures, we have possibilities to attend farmers markets, etc. And we have ways to talk to people when they come to us. But what does Mass Energize offer that would allow us to reach out to people who we don't already have access to?
So here are definitely the tools and templates that we provide, like our website. We help you set up on MailChimp, platforms like MailChimp, through which you can spread out your outreach, your presence on social media. But here I would also like to talk about one of the programs that we did for Energize Melrose. So Melrose had the heat pump coaching program. They had the coaches and they were looking to promote and to let people know about their offerings that you have volunteer coach here are provided by the city. So Mass Energize ran a 3-month social media campaign where we created posts for Energize Melrose team. We boosted some of the posts, and then we saw a 400% increase in their numbers before and after the campaign. So we also run specific campaigns if you have any a targeted audience that you would like to reach. So we can also partner with applying into like grants if you have a specific campaign that you would like to run. So we can also work through that with you.
Yeah, sorry, if I could just add to that, so being from Melrose, and I know why you picked us as an example, we had a presence, we had 3 heat pump coaches, we were connected with the city, but to your point, we weren't reaching people, right? People that reach out to us, not a problem, but they're the low-hanging fruit, right? We want, how do you get, and as she talked about, neighbors talk to neighbors, and that's how things happen. So I kept pushing our group to do something social media-wise, because that's what I do for my photography business, and I know that's how I get my word out. So we did. We partnered with Mass Energize, and we all of a sudden had nice-looking, professionally looking posts that were coming out, right? She talked about Canva and what they can do. I went around and I took some photos of local people in town, right? We incorporated some of those into it. In addition to that, we worked with our local newspaper, but to me the biggest thing was consistently posts were coming out to the community. So in Instagram, a lot of people follow, in our case, the city of Melrose. I'm sure a lot of people follow the town of Orleans. In Facebook, there are local community groups that you can be a member of, which allows you to then post to those groups. Like there's at least 4 or 5 different Orleans groups on Facebook, right? That all of a sudden now you have that reach to all those people. And to me, what helped make it work was, how do you do that while connecting to local people that they might recognize or see, or, like you say, at the farmer's market, you could even have something that came up from it. But I know for us, it provided us with that boost to an area that we didn't normally reach. And we're right now going through trying to do another round of that, and she mentioned grant-based. So we're just trying to remember which person it was here. Through Green Communities, we're looking to get a grant so that we can do another round of these kinds of community events. And we're just kind of waiting for that grant to come through and then work with them to do it again. But to me, that's one way to get out there. And you don't have to, for my business, I have to remember to post, and half the time I don't. So I don't have a common theme. I post when I feel like it, right? Whereas with this, you get consistent posts, 8 a month, 2 a week, on whatever topics you kind of want to emphasize initially.
And what does that mean? Does that mean they provide material 8 times a month, or they actually do the posting?
I'll let her answer that.
So we actually do the posting as well. We use platforms where we can schedule the post for you. So for example, what we have planned for first week of July post, you would already get those 2 posts for that week for your review. You can approve that post and then it would go live on your social media channels. So it would actually look that it went out from your official channels for Orleans Energy Navigators.
Yeah, so it's
We
really
do create the post for you. We also create the captions for you, and then when they go live, it actually looks like it went out from your channel.
I was gonna say too, the Ariha's describing the 2-week period where you have the chance to make an edit, but if you don't make any changes, it will just get posted for you. So it can be completely hands-off,
Okay.
that you just get that presence. And the thing about the social media presence, as we understand it, is that the consistency is important for the, I'm using my air quotes here in my car, the algorithms that they want to see consistent posting and not just really the one-offs to help drive your traffic.
Well, on the positive, I'd like to say that one tool that you bring that we don't have is the testimonials. Because I think when people hear somebody else that they may or may not know has done it and it worked for them, it's a very powerful message that until now, I guess to my knowledge, we were not really equipped with. Quick question on the membership, because we had heard that there was an annual membership of about $1,000, but at your last slide you indicated there were 3 different levels of membership. Maybe you can discuss that, and also I'm a little bit intrigued because I guess the bulk of your funding comes from grants, which makes sense. So it almost sounds like $1,000 is either too much or too little. So does it really contribute to your way of doing things, or is it more like a token of commitment?
It definitely contributes to the way we're doing things. It definitely covers the variable costs related to adding a client. But to your point, it also not much more. So we've got Ariha funded from other sources. But it is definitely a challenge for us. Like, if you could help us solve that, we would love it. I actually said to Ariha today, Ariha, if our products were free, wouldn't that be wonderful? And we could just, sign people on. So still kind of waiting for that white horse funder that would let us do that, because we would love to do that. But right now we're set up to get the kind of the variable costs covered by the local communities. Sorry.
No, so just qualify a little bit when you say you're funded by grants. Are those grants that the towns and the cities apply for and you help them with them, or are those grants that you as Mass Energize get directly, or how do the grants work?
So the grant programs largely cover the specific outreach campaigns that Ariha was referring to as the third element of what Mass Energize does. So we get a grant from maybe an earmark from the state, and then we were able to do a plug-in campaign. So we don't have any grants for our basic product operations, which are the website, the social media magic, and the network membership. Those come from the revenue that we're talking about today, as well as the individual donors to support that.
And as well as towns and cities that could potentially get grants on their own, right?
Yes, who might engage Mass Energize the way you described what Melrose had done. While
So
Ariha's been going up,
could we, the town of Orleans, get a Green Communities grant that would allow us to?
Yeah. So I'm not a grant expert, I just know that in Melrose, that's what we did. We've applied for grants that allow us to then work with Mass Energize to do the campaigns for us.
Okay.
Yeah, so, we're in a competitive grant between communities. This could be a component of a much larger grant.
Yeah.
We need X number of dollars to be able to be part of.
My feeling is that green communities grants are really very specific.
Yep.
They really have to be tied to a specific product, a deliverable, whereas, if it's like contributing to an organization, that may be a lot harder to say.
Well, we have admin we do have admin money, whether that is already all spoken for or not,
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know, but we do have admin money as part of our Green Community Grant.
Do you work with the, oh, sorry.
I was going to ask, do you have any specific examples of metrics associated with your programs? So, say if you were running one on hot water heat pumps and, you had a campaign on that, do you actually have metrics that might say, we signed up 50 people to install hot water heat pumps in their houses over the course of some period of time?
So oh, go ahead.
Megan, you can go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'll start it, but I am going to a place where I might lose you, in which case I'm sure Reha will fill in. Metrics is something that is very important to us, and we're working really hard to gather them. We have a tool that we developed with a professor from Bentley that allows us to use the state data to collect information about heat pump adoption, solar, and EVs throughout the state. But something like the plug-in campaign, when we run those, we survey everybody as they come into the webinars, and we survey them as they leave in terms of what they'd like to take for their next steps. And then we're working on developing some interim, some like maybe 3 months later, 6 months later, surveys to see if they have actually taken the actions, right? So that level of data is really hard to get on a timely basis. Like, you could probably do it effectively in Orleans by having a nice relationship with either your assessor or your building department, to do a little like, okay, we're starting this now, and maybe a year from now, how many heat pump permits were pulled. We do have an impact report from 2025 that we could get you that shows you our impact overall for Mass Energized. Reha, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, no, I was just going to talk about the impact report as well. Happy to share that with you. Cecilia, if you can share it with the whole group here.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I'd like to add that I think, Matt, you make a good point, because, numbers are numbers, but having some kind of a statistics would help sell it locally, because as far as funding, there's two challenges. One is to, the cost benefit, to convince our town that there is merit to invest this money, resident taxpayer money. And the second is which bucket we get it out of at the town level. So I realize it may be a chicken egg, but it would have been good if there was some kind of statistics about, the impact to the community as local as possible, so that we can present it and the town management can defend the expenditure.
That's a great suggestion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just gonna say, so the town has already appropriated $100,000 as part of our climate action roadmap, which is our climate action plan. We're not spending the whole $100,000, so there conceivably is funds available to become a member. We still have the challenge of being able to convince the town administration that is something we should execute and when we should execute it. We're probably less than 3 or 4 months away from starting our climate action roadmap. So, I think one of the questions that we will have is, when is the best time for us to become a member, and how does that support our climate action roadmap?
Yeah.
Well, I want to put in 2 thoughts. One is, I don't think you could start too early and just begin developing your resources and beginning to get a following on your social media, and also starting to maybe build a mailing list for a newsletter. But I did just want to circle back, and this will segue to the slide that Ariha has pulled up, is that I heard you say you already have a website. The reason you would want a Mass Energize website is that I think it has functionality that you probably can't easily build on, that a layperson couldn't easily build. Somebody else might, right? We link the testimonials to all the actions, and also you've got the event sharing. And with regard to the actions, your constituents have the ability to share them, not share them, sort them. So it's a little bit more than just a plain old website. It just gives you that additional functionality. And so if those things are attractive to you, then a Mass Energize website is a good reason to do that. And then that's the box on the right-hand side. The middle box is what we were talking about with the social media magic. Like if you say, I'm all set with my website, I don't need that, you could just participate with us in the middle area where you get the networking support, the meetings on our community of practice, the access to all the resources, and then the social media content onto your site, onto your channels twice a week. And then if that didn't seem right and you just wanted to engage and get started with us slowly, then that's that network membership on the left-hand side, we'd love to engage you. Ariha sends a mid-month Momentum newsletter to kind of encourage local climate leaders and also bring people's awareness to what might be going on in the area, as well as information about our specific products. And then also that monthly community of practice meeting.
So it's interesting, if I read the slide correctly, the level of, the financial level of contribution depends, of course, on what one would get, but also on the size of the community.
Yes.
We have
We're a
set up
medium.
a structure,
No,
yeah,
No.
for some of the community.
I checked the Barnstable County figures, and we actually just scrape in as a small community.
Oh,
If
okay.
you look down there on the left, we're slightly under 5,000
Oh, right.
Those households,
Okay.
so, yeah.
households. Yep.
Households, okay,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's the distinction, yeah.
Yep.
We could be seasonably medium, but
Yeah, yeah.
annually small.
Oh, so that's,
So
That's good
I have a
news.
question. Is your interaction with the individual towns mostly through their volunteer networks, like our Energy Navigators and maybe our town committee? Or do you work with town staff if they have knowledgeable people? We happen to have an assistant town manager with a strong background, and he jumps in and does a lot of things that I think other towns don't have, of our size, don't have that.
He's not doing that.
He's not doing
I think
this.
it
No, but-
really depends on the community. In some communities, there are like sustainability managers and paid staff who we engage with. In a town like Medfield, we don't have anybody in town hall doing that, and Sustainable Medfield operates independently of the town. So it's really kind of all of the above, depending on what you need and what you have. Ariha, would you add anything to that?
Yeah, just that once you pick any of these membership levels, there is going to be training and onboarding for your community. You can pick and choose the members who would be involved. If someone is going to work on your social media side of it, they would get trained on the product. If there's someone who would want to get trained on any other product, so you can choose like which member of your group is going to take care of what part.
Is it possible for us to get copies of the slides that you presented today?
You have to be a member.
Sure, yeah.
And that would help us do internal sales.
And has this conversation been taped? Since it's a Zoom, can we get a copy of the Zoom?
This is a
yeah,
regular
it'll be
meeting.
a regular
It's a
Zoom.
meeting, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we would have it. So, quick question, do you have any member from the Cape?
Not yet.
Not at the moment.
Question on the website support is, the Energy Navigators, we took out a domain name, and it's essentially a static page at the moment. But we do have our own domain. And then the town has their own, obviously their own website, and they've even hired a communications manager, and they're upping their game, if you will. So is your experience with other towns that you do it through the town's website, or do you do it through an independent website?
Sorry, is this question still about the domain and being able to use that domain that you already have purchased?
Well, no, all of your, all of your communication tools, the white space, the white space and all that, the communities that you are working with now, are they pushing that all out through their town website, or is it done through an independent website that's not directly managed by the town?
So we are using WordPress platform to build the websites, and we add admins to the site, so you can choose the admins who would work on the back end, they would get trained. And then it is going to be the independent website, and you can use the domain that you mentioned you have already purchased. So it would have its presence through that domain.
So I think the way to think of it is on your town website, it's if you want to find out more, you click here and it goes to yours, and you would then have this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm only asking because the town, they have rules and regulations about the way things are configured on the website.
Right.
And of course, everything has to be approved before it can be posted. That's not so much of an issue, but we did set up our own domain, energynavigators.org, right?
Energy Navigators Cape Cod.
Oh,
at this
Cape,
point.
okay. And, I think our preference would be to utilize that domain and
Yeah.
build it.
Right, so that you have control over it.
Yeah, not have to go through jump through all the hoops with the town, so. Okay, that's,
Any further questions?
No, just my personal opinion that I really appreciate this because, if we're to defend this with the town, I'm much better prepared than last week.
Well, it was nice to meet all of you. Let us know if you have any questions. Rita is going to get you the 2025 impact report and a PDF copy of the slides we shared.
perfect, thank you.
Great,
Thank you very much.
Megan.
Thank you, nice meeting you guys.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Take care.
So I guess one thing I found out on a simple level is it's not $1,000 if we wanted to participate sort of across the board. It's more like,
1750.
No, it's not,
No,
it's
no.
not cumulative, it's,
Yeah.
the 1,000 includes all
the
the,
level.
all the previous,
It's-
you get everything for $1,000.
I mean, every membership, the next level is all of the previous plus. That's how I understood it.
Yeah.
So
But you don't have to-
1,000 is like the pro, being a small community,
Yeah.
so you get everything. That's my understanding.
okay, I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
I
have
thought it was-
clarified.
I thought it was additive.
We can get that, we can get it in writing. When I talked with them a couple of weeks ago, I understood that there was an initial year investment in MailChimp and getting that up and running. So I'll get it in writing.
Right.
But it is, certainly from the perspective of the navigators, I will say, the social media value of what they're offering is priceless. And could move the needle on some of the variables that are very quietly killing us with this greenhouse gas.
Interestingly, Cece, my opinion also is that it legitimizes a way for the navigators to have access to resources. Because when we spoke with the town earlier, they said, yeah, but we can't just give you a blank check. So give us like a way to basically channel the money to you guys
Yes.
in a verifiable application, and then we'll be all ears. But otherwise, you get into all those sort of conflicts of interest. Otherwise, we'll just be giving ourselves money.
Yes,
So, but now, if this can work,
yeah,
then it's a perfectly legitimate way to go to town and get funding for something that would definitely help the navigators.
yes, yes. And it would help us not only deliver services and information to townspeople, but also find some more people to become navigators, because we are a mighty, but a mighty small team right now.
Yeah.
And you can also, again, through the social media teams, there's like a tradespeople at Cape Cod, there's all kinds of people, contractors and others that you want to connect with also, especially when you've got a town that has, the households are here, right? in my opinion, it's all the seasonal people like myself, that if they're not participating as well, right, it's because they're leaving it all up to their contractors. Now you also have a way to have a voice into those contractors about what ordinance is doing as well.
My personal opinion is that there is a lot of pluses, and the two big ones are really systematic access to social media and the testimonials, because the benefit of the social media is that rather than talk to your neighbor, you just click and you send a message to as many people as you have in contact. And the testimonials, which I think will encourage a lot more people to take it more seriously. The negatives are going to be, with the first ones in the Cape, it's going to be kind of difficult to say, yeah, trust me. It's kind of, like I said, a chicken egg. And ideally, we would have had some numbers to say, look, in this community, this is before they join, this is after they join.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that, especially locally. So we're going to have to, push the fact that, like John said, we already have some funds available that we're trying to use, intelligently. And secondly, the fact that at the end of the day, the amount is very reasonable. We're not talking about 20,000 or, even 10,000. We're talking $1,000 for an experiment. It's kind of like maybe it's worth defending in my opinion.
1,000 is minimal, because just to hire like a website designer, just to build the tools, not the content, but just the functionality would be like $10,000, and then you supply the content. They have both the content and the functionality, and they're a 501c3, so the town could, there's a vehicle for them to provide the 1,000. As I said, the town can't supply Energy Navigators with any funding because they're not a 501c3 to begin with, so.
But that's a good point. We really need to be comfortable with the numbers.
Yeah.
Because once we present them, we can't go back and say, oh, by the way, the fine print, we also need an additional so-and-so.
Yeah.
We need to be able to exactly tell them how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, I think one of the people we need to convince, to bring on to be supportive of this would be Amanda Converse.
Yeah. Yeah, she might view this as competitive to her. She's the communication director for the
Yeah,
town.
but I doubt she's got time to generate that for us.
Oh, definitely not.
She's got her hands full with the town, much less coming up with a whole nother program.
Yeah.
But we need to find the channels, that's the key. I mean, you talk about the contractor network. Do we know where to post to reach them easily? We need help finding those places.
Yeah.
And will they let us
You think?
access?
Home builders and renovators of Cape Cod, you think they'll bar the door? I think they might. But there are also people in this community who are green builders. And I think they can open doors for us.
Green contractors,
Yes.
people that have really gotten into the heat pump and solar aspects of business.
Yeah.
That would love to expand their, if no one else is gonna do it, I'll partner with you, right? And then you start doing collaborative posts with some of them as well.
And maybe through the testimonials, people may be able to say, this is the contractor that I used, and this is.
Yes.
So at least you'll have a Rolodex.
Cape Associates, I stumbled on something, they had posted about all their kind of green community activities. They bought EVs, they put solar panels on all their projects, and
They have charging stations.
yeah.
They have access for the public to their.
It was a pretty,
charging
I don't know where I saw this one
Yeah.
page, it was an advertisement, but I'll try to find it. And I was pretty impressed, actually, with everything that they put forward, and so.
And I don't know if anybody listened to Climate One on Sunday morning, but they were talking about the right becoming much more supportive of solar. And in fact, having hired Kellyanne Conway's firm to support solar.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a very interesting article. Yeah, I mean, and justifying it more on the finances than on anything to do with the climate, right?
Yeah.
Which is plenty justifiable and holds on its own now, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great. So I think,
What's the next steps?
so next steps in my mind is I need to probably reach out to Amanda Converse, have the conversation, say, hey, look, we're looking at this, you can go look at this. You can go on to, Mass Energize Acton or Melrose or Medfield and see what it is that you would be getting. So Amanda Converse. Secondly, I think I would put this on the agenda for the month of July for the ECAC to make a recommendation, town join Mass Energize now.
You think Mark is going to be,
You know, he and I had very similar ideas in that thinking, okay, well, you know, we currently don't have any programs we're running. I mean, you know, I think we're trying to run the climate action plan, the roadmap, and we don't really, and I'm not even sure how we're getting that word out to anybody. This could help us do that, but we don't. So we don't really have any programs. This would help us to generate programs.
yeah.
My view is before we reach out to Mark, we need to be able to answer if I was Mark, these are the 3 questions I'm going to ask. First is, what is it going to cost me? Second is, what is it going to do for me? Third is, why now?
Well, this is where Amanda Converse comes in, so
Yeah.
we need to kind of get her on board as, hey, yeah, you should go do this.
Yeah, if she recommends it as well, it supports, but still, Mark is Mark, and he's going to have to
Yeah.
talk to Kim and say,
But this
hey.
is, he doesn't have time to do it, and the question would be, well, does Amanda have time to do it? Probably not either. But if Energy Navigators can be the executing arm of this,
Mark mentioned they're going to have the community engagement for the climate action plan in late July. What is that?
It's not on my
gonna be like a
schedule.
Public, yeah, I know. But what does he mean by that? Is it going to be
Yeah.
a?
I don't know. I mean, I said, it's not on my schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, when is it, where is it? We have not heard those things. You know, this is, if you don't get the word out, you're not gonna get community engagement.
So, Roger, you said, is it Melrose? So how do you divide it between the town government itself, and then do you have an equivalent Energy Navigator volunteer organization?
So we have a 3-person heat pump coach team. And independent of that, we also have a solar person. Of the 3 people heat pump coach team, one of them is actually a part-time employee of the city of Melrose. And it's good for so many hours a week. So the way he basically explained it to me was, I only have so many hours, which sounds like Amanda too, right? To do what needs to be done. By getting the grant and using Mass Energize, I now expand what I can do while I'm still not increasing my hours, right? So that was one of the big things. Plus, you know, he's not a social media expert in terms of doing that. So we have the connection to the town, but really the 3 heat pump coaches, all volunteers like your navigators, right, are basically the ones that are doing all the work, coordinating the events and going out. And we, as people are interested, we go visit them at their home for an hour. We walk through what they have in their house, what they use today, what their goals are. Because as you know, unless you're actually talking to someone, it's hard to fill out a questionnaire what you're really trying to get out of something, right? Or what your concerns are, right? And that's when you can have one-on-one conversations, like you say, they're almost testimonials, right? With people, I've done this, and this is what it means to do it. So I really like the idea of testimonials for you, and, you can identify people. I can help with the photography part of it, and we can figure something out, but I think that would be great.
But for your 3 heat pump people in the solar,
Yep.
are you ad hoc, or do you actually have a 501c3 that you do this through, or?
Yeah, I don't believe we have a 501c. It's not one I'm aware of.
Okay.
But I never thought about it either, so.
And do you have a separate website or a domain for your?
No, the stuff we do is basically on our city website, but it's very simple. It's kind of like if you want to get a heat pump coach, email heat pump coach guy.
Okay.
That's kind of where it's at.
And I think we definitely need the support of Amanda. But I think the fundamental question we need to ask ourselves is, where is the money going to come from? If it's going to come from public affairs budget, then definitely.
No.
But if it's going to come from.
We got $100,000. We're gonna
Yeah.
spend $50,000.
Then-
We're gonna have $50,000, not that we'll use it for all for this. but-
Then if Mark is our sponsor, then he's the one that we need to
Yeah,
convince.
and we also probably have funding, I don't know how much funding is left, but we had funding that we approved that we used for EV chargers and.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's
I totally
many
agree. There is
sources.
sources.
We
All I'm
just need-
saying is, who do we need to sell this to in the end?
The
It has
ultimate is gonna be the
marketed.
assistant town manager.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
But we
Mark.
kind of need to bring them along to public affairs.
Totally, and everybody, I mean, we still, I still don't know who's our select board liaison,
Yeah.
but he or she should be also an advocate for us
Yeah.
on this, so, yeah, the more support we get, even if it's a small amount, because it's the justification part of, I mean, small, I don't know, I don't wanna lower the amount, because we still don't know how much it's gonna cost to get the website up and running and everything, but if we're talking $10,000 upfront and $1,000 a year, I think it's still something very digestible.
It does solve the issue of how, I mean, the town just gonna buy this or contract for
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
So that is a big
How do we
benefit to
benefit?
us because it takes
Hakeem,
it
I don't-
out
I don't-
of that.
You know, all we
adversary.
need is the domain, which we have, and it's a blank space. They provide everything. You don't have to build anything beyond the hosting. And
That's great.
so I
And-
think the 1,000 a year is your total cost, really.
Yeah,
But
well,
then-
if that's the case, then that's brilliant.
But somebody, I mean, there's volunteer time, obviously, to do the review of the material and customize it, whatever. But
And-
they said if you don't respond in 2 weeks, they just post it anyway, so.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's the thing, who's gonna be the administrator of the website?
Right.
Because one limited knowledge I know is that the more sophisticated the website, the more time consuming for the administrators.
Yeah.
I will add that the concept of the social media posts, so with the Firebirds, we did the same thing. How do we, in the summertime, we have 25 interns, and it's great, everything works great. In the off-season, how do we keep a presence out there? So we hired, originally it was with Duluth, who was down on West Street there, and they're now called Bright Boy, I guess, but that's what they did. They put it out, so they give us the same thing. Here's next month's post. And I look at them quickly, and if I see something that just doesn't match our sense of purpose of what we're doing, I comment on it, otherwise I kind of just let them run with it, and they're
Yeah.
usually right on. And it keeps posting it, keep going, oh, thank God I didn't have to do that.
Just for comparison, do you know what they paid Duluth for that?
We pay them on hourly basis.
Yeah, but it was
Right.
definitely more than 1,000 a year.
Oh, I think it's close to 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 10,000 a year that's what it cost 10 years ago when I was doing it, so, and again, that was no content, that was just the machinery to allow you to do it, so,
You know, speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, we put in a lot of volunteer time, and to not be able to get $1,000 from the town, it would be sad.
Well, we've already had a conversation, like I said, with Roger, myself, Keem, Andrea, and the assistant town manager. We've already kind of asked for their support, and what we got was, well, let's figure out how we could do that. So this is a way that the town could do this, contract directly with them, and get access to the service.
yeah.
Yeah. The thought I was gonna add is, I don't know, that young lady, Dee Dee, she was like a member, well, kind of a assistant member in our committee, but did she graduate this year, or?
Sorry, after.
I think she's still
Nice to
going.
meet everybody.
Thanks,
Nice to
Raj.
meet you, Raj. Appreciate all that you do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
No, I don't think she's graduated, no. I mean, I keep sending her everything.
Because somebody like, with those kind of technical skills might be a good person to maintain a website like this if they can allocate the time.
Yeah.
And if she's gone, we could have like a yearly position like that in our committee for a high school student to participate, and that would be one of their roles.
Yeah.
I mean, something to think about.
Yeah, the only thing is, they all move on. Because they're here and then they're gone, they're off to college or off.
That's why it has to be a yearly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
You know.
but the training piece of it is a kind of a one-time
High school
shot.
junior so they're here for a year, and then they have time as a senior to hand it off to the next junior that's gonna take it up, so.
Yeah, something like that. And it benefits everybody because they put it on
Yeah.
their applications, that they've been a member of the Energy and Climate Action Committee of such and such town.
Yeah, I think that, like Evie is, I mean, I've sent her everything. She has been to some of our meetings and,
Yes.
shows up when she can.
Yeah.
But she's a little busy.
It strikes me that we have when you're relying on volunteers, as everybody knows, you're at the mercy of their availability,
Yes.
you know, their motivation at the moment, competing resources, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I gotta think, with a teenage volunteer, it just is
It's even more.
exponentially
Yeah,
more
so much
complicated.
Yeah, it's a great resume builder for them.
If,
And-
yeah, but,
And that's a nice thing.
but we need, you know,
We need-
work, we need reliable
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, there's one thing, a while ago, Amanda gave me the name of a foundation, and I looked at the foundation with these people here, and in fact, they have funded, the foundation has funded towns' startup.
Oh,
And so that's another possibility. To apply for it, if we were to apply as the navigators, we would need to go ahead with the 501c3. And that's neither here nor there, but as a backup, if we start to get into sort of a bog on this, we could get a starter year
Yeah.
out of the Island Foundation.
So this meets one of our core parts of our charter, so, which is the argument why we needed to be able to, you know, provide support to energy navigators. You know, I think we get this thing through. Because I said, it's in our charge to do this.
Yes.
It's almost a low-hanging fruit.
It is.
We can sell it to
I'll say
market.
it's much better and more organized than I thought. I was skeptical all along about what we'd be getting
Yeah.
for our money, but it's much better than I thought.
Susan, are you, you know, they talk about MailChimp integration, and do we have a database of
We have,
emails? that-
yeah, I mean, modest, I'd have to look at how many names we have. But everybody we have contact with who is willing to give us their
Yeah.
email address and so forth, we have that. And
'Cause
it
that's
could
a-
be just dump into
A
MailChimp.
big part of it is building your email distribution, so, and, you know, as you they start posting, there'll be a link, they'll say subscribe to our, you
Yeah.
know, messages, and so,
Yeah, and we'll finally have messages.
yeah, right, so.
Anyway, I recommend you pick a town in the Mass Energize and just go see how they're using it.
Yeah,
But I'll be using Acton, since I read their climate action roadmap or climate action plan. And I also know that they had a full-time energy manager.
Well, or better, if we can
Past
pick a
tense,
town.
had.
Oh, I think, no, it's been a while since I talked to anybody in Acton, but I knew this person over multiple years, so just on an acquaintance basis.
Ideally, if we can pick a town and reach out to them and say, what is it doing for you?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
You should be
with
able
it?
to just, well, I don't know, I mean, I'm gonna go take a look, because I think it would just give, I mean, what we saw was very positive, but seeing it in execution for a town
Yes.
also
Right.
would be a great ability to help convince people that, yeah, we need to
Right.
do
That
this.
it's worth the money, absolutely.
Yeah, but it is low hanging fruit, and it is, so we have this as a charge, and we're not really getting very far with it, and this is some assistance for very little money, in my mind. We should be able to make a bigger impact.
Yeah, because one of the slides summarized it very well. It was like the point you were making, that when you rely on volunteers, immediately there is uncertainty. Secondly, there is a lack of focus. And thirdly, there is a lack of reach. So if they can provide that, then it'd be a big plus for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion to
Great.
adjourn?
Can I make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
No, he just did.
No, I was asking if somebody wanted to make a motion.
Ping pong, ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay.
You make it, I'll second it, all right, so.
Okay.
So we have a motion to adjourn, we have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of
Aye.
adjourning? Aye.